I never imagined that a simple HOA parking rule could spiral into the most terrifying night of my life. Picture this: a full-blown Colorado blizzard roaring through Colorado Springs, snow piling up faster than anyone could keep up with, visibility down to almost nothing. And there I stood in the middle of my street, coatless, shoes filling with ice, watching a tow truck drag my family van away, with my 12-year-old daughter, Emily, still locked inside the back, alone, scared, and completely helpless. Emily has cerebral palsy. She uses a wheelchair full-time. She needs help with nearly every daily task: getting dressed, eating, transferring from chair to seat. That van wasn't just transportation. It was her lifeline, custom converted with a hydraulic lift, tie-downs, storage for her leg braces, medications, and portable oxygen if she ever needed it. It was an older conversion van, sure, faded blue paint, some rust along the wheel wells, a few dents from years of hospital parking lots. But it ran perfectly, and after my divorce, it was all I could afford without going into serious debt. Let me take you back to the beginning, so you understand how something so petty could turn so dangerous. My name is Michael Reynolds. 3 months earlier, Emily and I had moved into Pine Ridge Estates, a tidy middle-class subdivision on the quieter east side of Colorado Springs. After the divorce finalized, I needed somewhere stable. Good public schools with solid special ed programs, sidewalks wide enough for her wheelchair, neighbors who seemed friendly from the curb. The houses were well kept, the streets quiet, the views of Pikes Peak in the distance on clear days. It felt like the fresh start we both deserved. What I didn't realize was that Pine Ridge Estates was run like a private fiefdom by its homeowners association, and at the center of that kingdom stood Karen Whitaker, the HOA president. Karen appeared on our doorstep the second day we moved in. Mid-40s, sharp bob haircut, wire-rimmed glasses, always clutching a thick black binder and an iPad like they were royal scepters. She introduced herself with the rehearsed warmth of someone who delivered the same speech 100 times. "Welcome to Pine Ridge Estates, Mr. Reynolds. I'm Karen Whitaker, president of the HOA. I wanted to personally deliver your copy of our covenants, conditions, and restrictions." She handed me the binder, easily 3 inches thick. I flipped through it while she watched. Rules on fence heights, paint colors, only 3 approved shades of beige, holiday decorations, pre-approved list only, grass length, no more than 2 inches, even mailbox styles. Then she nodded toward the driveway. Section 12, Paragraph 4. All vehicles must be parked in garages overnight. Driveways are for temporary daytime parking only. I glanced back at the van, still loaded with moving boxes. We're still unpacking. The garage is full right now. I'll move it in once I clear some space. Her smile didn't waver, but her eyes narrowed. The rules don't make exceptions for moving, Mr. Reynolds. You have until tomorrow night to comply, or you'll receive your first violation notice. That should have been my warning. But I was exhausted, physically from hauling boxes alone, emotionally from the divorce papers still fresh in my mind, and my entire focus was on getting Emily settled into her new room with her favorite posters and stuffed bear collection. So I nodded, thanked her, and closed the door. The next day, I spent hours rearranging the garage, squeezing the van inside, even though it meant Emily and I had to weave around towers of cardboard every time we needed to get to the laundry or the freezer. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Over the following weeks, Karen found something new to complain about almost daily. The grass was a 1/4 inch too long, $1.50 fine. Trash cans placed at the curb 12 hours before the approved window, another $50. The Christmas wreath I'd hung on the front door, silver bells that Emily loved because they jingled when the wind blew, wasn't on the pre-approved list, $1.50 more. Each notice arrived in a crisp white envelope with the HOA logo, and each carried the same polite but menacing tone. Failure to correct within 7 days will result in additional fines and possible legal action. I fought back in small ways. I mowed twice a week, even though the grass was barely growing in the cold. I set phone alarms so I'd never miss trash day. I took down Emily's favorite wreath and replaced it with a plain, evergreen, one Karen's list allowed, even though Emily's face fell when she saw the change. "It's okay, Dad," she said quietly. "I still like the bells in my head." The fines added up, Over $800 in 3 months, and money was already tight. But I kept my head down, told myself it was just part of suburban life, and focused on Emily, her physical therapy sessions, her schoolwork, our little routines that made her feel safe. Then came the Tuesday in late January when everything changed. The National Weather Service had been warning about the storm for 4 days straight. A massive system dumping 2 to 3 feet of snow across the Front Range. Winds gusting to 40 miles per hour. Whiteout conditions possible. Schools closed early. Businesses sent people home at noon. I left work, picked Emily up from her middle school, and we crawled home through thickening flakes. Her after-school physical therapy appointment was canceled. She was disappointed. She'd been making real progress with her new ankle braces and looked forward to those sessions with her therapist, Dr. Patel. To lift her spirits, I suggested our special tradition, movie marathon in the van. The van had a small flat screen mounted in the back, a DVD player, and a comfortable setup where Emily could stay in her wheelchair, wrapped in blankets, and watch her baking competition shows while I sat up front or made snacks inside. It was our cozy escape. "Can we watch the new season of that cake show?" she asked as I lowered the lift. "Absolutely. I'll make real hot chocolate, no instant packets." I got her settled in the cargo area. Thick fleece blanket, tablet for backup, her purple backpack with meds and water bottle, and Mr. Whiskers, the stuffed bear she'd slept with since she was 3. The van was parked in the driveway because I just picked up medical supplies from the pharmacy and needed to unload them. Snow was falling heavily now, big wet flakes that stuck to everything. The windshield was already covered. "I'm going inside to make the hot chocolate," I told her. 5 minutes, okay? "You good?" "I'm good, Dad." "Bring extra marshmallows." "You got it, kiddo." Inside the house, the warmth hit me like a hug. I could hear the wind starting to howl. I put milk on the stove, measured cocoa, sugar, a pinch of salt, just the way Emily liked it. That's when my phone buzzed on the counter. Email from Karen Whitaker. Subject: urgent violation. Immediate action required. My stomach dropped. "Mr. Reynolds, your vehicle has been parked in the driveway for 47 minutes. Per Section 12, Paragraph 4, Subsection B, commercial vehicles are prohibited from driveway parking at any time. Your van has been classified as commercial due to its size and cargo capacity. You have 15 minutes to remove it from the driveway, or I will authorize towing. Regards, Karen Whitaker, HOA President." I read it twice, disbelief turning to anger. Commercial vehicle? This was our family van, modified specifically for my disabled daughter, parked in my own driveway during a blizzard warning. I started typing a furious reply. "My daughter is inside the van right now. She's disabled. I'm bringing her in immediately. Do not tow." Before I could hit send, I heard the low growl of a diesel engine outside. I dropped the spoon, ran to the front window, and saw the tow truck backing into my driveway. Karen stood on the sidewalk under a huge black umbrella, gesturing sharply at the driver like a traffic cop. I burst out the door without my coat, yelling into the wind. "Stop! My daughter is in that van." The snow was so thick I could barely see 10 feet. My sneakers slipped on the fresh powder. The tow truck's hook was already under the front bumper. The front wheels were lifting off the ground. I sprinted to Karen. "My 12-year-old daughter is inside. She's in a wheelchair. She can't get out by herself." Karen turned to me with that same calm, cold smile. "You were warned multiple times, Mr. Reynolds. The rules are clear. The van will be impounded at East Side Towing. You can retrieve it after paying the tow fee and your outstanding fines." "Are you insane?" I shouted. "She's disabled. It's a blizzard." I tried to run past her toward the truck. She actually grabbed my forearm. "If you continue to harass me, I will call the police for assault." I yanked my arm free and pounded on the driver's door. The window rolled down. The driver, Ron Hayes, heavy-set, late 50s, company logo on his jacket, looked irritated. "My daughter is in the back," I yelled. "She's 12, in a wheelchair, disabled. You have to put the van down right now." Ron glanced toward Karen. "Lady, you didn't say anything about a kid in there." Karen called over the wind. "He's lying to avoid the tow. I've been watching the house. No one is in the vehicle. I'm not lying." I screamed. Emily, can you hear me?" I ran to the rear doors, locked. Windows completely frosted over with snow. The truck lurched forward, van in tow. I chased after it, slipping, falling once, screaming her name until the taillights vanished around the corner into the white wall of the storm. I stood in the middle of the street, snow swirling around me, chest heaving. My little girl, my sweet, brave, vulnerable girl, was gone. Towed away like junk, alone in a blizzard, with no way to get out, no phone within reach if her headphones were on, no heat if the battery died. I ran back to the house, nearly falling twice on the ice-slick driveway. Karen was still there, typing on her iPad as if nothing had happened. "You're going to regret this," I said, voice shaking with rage and terror. "Is that a threat, Mr. Reynolds? Because I can add harassment to your file." I didn't waste another second on her. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling so badly I almost dropped it, dialed Emily's cell. It rang 4 times, went to voicemail. Tried again. Same thing. She probably had her noise-canceling headphones on, watching her show, oblivious. I called 911. The dispatcher was calm, professional. I wasn't. Words tumbled out. My daughter was just towed away in our van. She's 12. Cerebral palsy. Wheelchair-bound. She can't get out by herself. The HOA authorized it during the blizzard. She's being taken to East Side Towing. Please hurry. She's alone and terrified. Officers are being dispatched to the tow yard now, sir. Stay on the line. Do you have a description of the vehicle? I rattled it off. Make, model, license plate, the wheelchair symbol on the back. Every second felt like an hour. The dispatcher asked if Emily had her phone. I said yes, but she wasn't answering. Maybe headphones, maybe too scared to reach it. I couldn't stay put. I grabbed my coat, car keys, and headed for my sedan in the garage. The streets were already buried. My little front-wheel drive car fishtailed, just backing out of the driveway. Visibility was maybe 20 feet. Wipers couldn't keep up. I drove anyway, white-knuckling the wheel, following GPS directions to the tow lot on the far east side. 20 minutes into the nightmare drive, passing spun-out cars, abandoned vehicles, flashing emergency lights, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Reynolds? This is Officer Daniel Kim, Colorado Springs PD. I'm at East Side Towing. The truck hasn't arrived yet. Conditions are too dangerous. The driver likely pulled over to wait out the worst of it. That's standard protocol." "She's alone," I choked out. "She needs her anti-seizure medication at 6. She's probably so scared. We're trying to reach the driver. Stay safe, sir. The roads are getting worse. If you're driving, find somewhere to pull over." I couldn't. I kept going. Then, miracle, Emily's number flashed on the screen. I answered instantly. "Emily? Baby, are you okay?" "Dad." Her voice was tiny, trembling. "Where are you?" "The van is moving." "I'm scared." "Why is it moving?" Relief crashed through me so hard I had to pull to the shoulder. "I'm coming to get you right now. There was a mistake. You're going to be okay. Is the driver there?" "No, I'm still in the back." "Dad, I don't know what's happening." "Listen to me, sweetheart. Remember the red emergency horn button on the panel near your chair? The one I showed you? Press it. Hold it down." I heard rustling, then the long, loud blare of the horn through the phone. It went on for 10, 15 seconds. "Good job," I said. "Keep it going if you can." A man's voice came on, gruff but suddenly gentle. "This is Ron Hayes." "Sir, I had no idea there was a child in the van. The HOA lady told me it was an abandoned commercial vehicle. I pulled over on Highway 24 eastbound, mile marker 312. Hazards are on. I'm not moving another foot with a kid in tow. Police have called me twice already." "Thank you," I whispered. "Is she okay?" "She's scared, but she's bundled up. Found her backpack, purple one. Meds are here. Label says 1 tablet at 6 with water. I've got bottled water in the cab. I'll get her taken care of." He spoke softly to Emily. "Hey, kiddo, your dad's on the way. You're going to be fine." I floored it. Well, as much as you can floor it in a blizzard. 10 minutes later, I saw the flashing yellow hazards through the whiteout. I parked crooked behind the tow truck, jumped out, ran to the back. Ron had the rear doors open. Emily was wrapped in one of his emergency blankets on top of her own. She saw me and started crying, big, heaving sobs. I climbed in, wrapped my arms around her carefully. "I've got you, baby. You're safe now. I'm so sorry." She clung to me. I didn't know what was happening. I thought maybe I did something wrong. "No, sweetheart. None of this is your fault. Not one bit." Ron stood by the doors, looking sick. "I've been towing for 22 years. Never had anything like this." That woman stood right there and watched me hook up a van with a kid inside and told me you were lying. If I'd known. Police cruisers arrived minutes later, red and blue lights cutting through the snow. Officer Kim and Sergeant Maria Lopez took our statements. Ron repeated exactly what Karen had said. "Abandoned commercial vehicle. He's trying to dodge the tow. Go ahead." Sergeant Lopez's face hardened. "That crosses the line from civil dispute to criminal. We'll be speaking with Ms. Whitaker tonight." They helped transfer Emily to their large SUV, patient, careful, making sure her chair was secure. They drove us home. The trip took almost an hour. Even the police SUV struggled in drifts. When we pulled onto our street, Karen's house lights were on 3 doors down. Sergeant Lopez noticed me looking. "We'll handle her. Get her daughter inside and warm." Emily was exhausted. I got her into pajamas, gave her night meds, tucked Mr. Whiskers under her arm. She was asleep in minutes, still holding my hand. Downstairs, Sergeant Lopez waited. "Karen Whitaker is being taken into custody as we speak. Reckless endangerment of a minor, child endangerment, possible false imprisonment. The DA will decide final charges, but this is serious." I nodded numb. "I want her prosecuted. Fully. You have that right. And I'd strongly recommend a civil attorney. You've got grounds for a major lawsuit against her personally and the HOA." The next morning, the story spread like wildfire through the neighborhood. Turns out Karen had made enemies for years. The retired couple fined because their rose bushes were the wrong shade of pink. The single mom plumber who got violation after violation for parking her work van overnight. The veteran with PTSD cited for letting his emotional support golden retriever lie on the front porch without a leash, even though the yard was fenced. A petition to remove the entire HOA board appeared online. Within 48 hours, it had over 300 signatures. Local news picked it up. Then national outlets. Headlines read, "HOA president arrested after ordering tow of van containing disabled child during deadly blizzard." I hired Laura Bennett, a no-nonsense attorney in her early 50s who specialized in HOA abuse and civil rights cases. She reviewed everything. Every violation notice, every email, the 911 call log, police reports, Ron's sworn statement. "This isn't just bad neighbor behavior," she told me in her downtown office. "This is reckless, callous endangerment of a vulnerable child. We'll sue Karen individually for intentional infliction of emotional distress and the HOA for negligent supervision and failure to train board members on basic human decency." The criminal case moved quickly. District Attorney Elena Vasquez took personal interest. She had a son with autism and understood the terror of a child left helpless. She charged Karen with reckless endangerment of a minor, felony child endangerment, due to Emily's disability and the life-threatening weather, and false imprisonment. Preliminary hearing in February. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, neighbors, disability advocates. Karen sat at the defense table in a navy suit, looking smaller than I remembered. Her attorney tried to argue honest mistake, no intent, stressful weather conditions. Ron's testimony crushed that. She heard him yelling that his daughter was inside. I heard it too. She told me to keep going anyway. Said he was lying. I trusted her as the HOA representative. That's on me, and I'll carry it forever. The judge bound her over for trial. Bail remained high. She spent several days in county jail before her husband posted it. Trial came in April, 3 intense days. Prosecution called Ron, Officer Kim, Sergeant Lopez, neighbors who testified about Karen's pattern of targeting non-conforming residents, single parents, people with disabilities, anyone who didn't fit her vision of suburban perfection. I took the stand. Walking up there felt like walking into a storm all over again. DA Vasquez led me through it gently. "When you told Ms. Whitaker your daughter was in the van, what did she say?" She said, You should have thought about that before violating HOA regulations. And when you try to stop the tow, she grabbed my arm and threatened to call police for assault if I didn't back off. How did you feel in that moment? My voice cracked, like my heart was being ripped out. My daughter can't walk. She can't open doors. She can't call for help if she's stuck. I thought I might never see her alive again. Defense tried to paint me as the problem neighbor. 15 violations in 3 months, uncooperative. I answered calmly. Those violations were for things like grass length, trash timing, a holiday wreath. Meanwhile, other neighbors did the same things and never got cited. Karen targeted me from day one. The jury deliberated less than 4 hours. Guilty on all 3 counts. Sentencing 3 weeks later. Judge Harlan Brooks read Emily's therapist's letter describing nightmares, new anxiety about being alone, fear of vehicles. He looked at Karen. You made a deliberate choice to ignore a child's safety because enforcing a parking rule mattered more. You showed no remorse, not at arrest, not at trial, not today. That cannot stand. He sentenced her to 4.5 years consecutive, 6 months for reckless endangerment, 3 years for felony child endangerment, 1 year for false imprisonment, $50,000 restitution separate from civil claims, permanent prohibition from any HOA board or residential governance role. Karen's husband wept quietly. Her face went blank like she still couldn't believe it. Civil suits settled fast after the conviction. $425,000 from the HOA's insurance. Part of the agreement, complete rewrite of bylaws, mandatory annual training on disability rights and fair housing laws, an independent appeals process for violations, refund of every fine I'd paid. The old board resigned en masse. New election. Sarah Morales, the plumber mom Karen had harassed for years, won president by a landslide. First thing she did, repeal the most absurd rules, expand the approved decorations list, reduce fines to last resort status after documented warnings. Emily's healing took time. Weekly sessions with Dr. Patel. Nightmares slowly faded. She stopped flinching every time I left the room. We turned the garage into a new cozy space. Big TV, beanbags, space for a chair. No more van memories tied to fear. Friday movie nights became our new tradition. 1 year to the day after that blizzard, Emily woke up smiling. Dad, can we celebrate instead of being sad? Celebrate. Yeah, I survived something really scary. And so many people helped me. That's worth a party. We rented the community center. Invited Ron, who brought his granddaughter. They talked baking shows for hours, Officer Kim and his family, Dr. Patel and her therapy dog. We made a $30,000 donation to a statewide organization that helps families with disabled children cover therapy and equipment. Emily stood at the microphone, nervous but determined. Bad things can happen, but there are way more good people than bad ones. We can choose to be the good ones who help. Thank you for helping me. Not a dry eye in the room. The case sparked real change. Colorado passed Emily's law the following spring, required HOA board members to complete training on disability accommodations, fair enforcement, and emergency protocols. I was invited to the governor's signing ceremony. Emily wheeled up beside me in her favorite blue dress, accepted a keepsake pen, and spoke briefly. HOA should make neighborhoods safer and kinder, not scarier. I hope this law helps. Karen served most of her sentence, paroled quietly after 3 years and 9 months. She left the state. We never heard from her again. We stayed in Pine Ridge. The neighborhood transformed. People waved, stopped to chat, offered help with snow removal. Sarah ran the HOA like a community service, not a power trip. Emily made friends on the block. She graduated middle school with honors, joined a marine science club, started dreaming aloud about studying dolphins in California one day. That one January night was the darkest of my life. But what came after showed me the best of people. The tow driver who stopped everything when he realized the truth, the officers who treated Emily with gentleness, the DA who fought like a mama bear, the neighbors who finally spoke up, the strangers who sent cards of donations. Power, even tiny HOA power, can corrupt if it's unchecked. Rules matter, but compassion matters more. And when someone forgets that, good people have to stand up. What about you? Have you ever dealt with an HOA gone wild? Or watched someone abuse a small position of authority? Have you seen injustice, big or small, and decided to fight back? Or maybe you've been on the other side and learned a hard lesson. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me your stories. Tell me where you stand on power, fairness, and what happens when rules get put above people. I read every one. Thanks for listening all the way to the end.